Hope everyone is doing well. Just a brief introduction if you guys, this might be your first webinar with us, our first Rise and Learn. Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine. I'm the Customer Success Manager here at Pulsa. I've been with the company for about 3 years, and in my time in Pulsa, I've spoken with a lot of customers in support calls and seen a lot of the ways, the tips and tricks that people do their installations. And then especially when we started doing our own installation program and we had our installers installing for customers in the field, we started picking up our own tips and tricks. And we've installed hundreds of installations in New York, California, Texas, Oregon, and Washington. So there are definitely some things that we picked up along the way, and we wanted to share that with you all with a highlight on the notes and features portion of our dashboard. So let me see here. Let me go into a little bit of a background about notes and images before jumping into the feature. So notes and images are going to be two features that are available in the Pulsa dashboard. We built these to increase the visibility and understanding of your installations. The time and energy to use these features is really very little. It's really easy, even folks that don't really consider themselves to be tech savvy, or if you're in the field, it's really easy to make it work. You can drag and drop things really easily from your computer. You can snap things right off of your cell phone and upload them right into the dashboard. So it's really simple. We took those simple everyday actions like writing your short memos and snapping quick pictures and just added it and incorporated it into the dashboard. So all of your information for your installs is going to be all in one spot, ready to use. Everyone on your team can have access to it, and it's just a really nice and streamlined system. Okay, so I wanted to go over our agenda and just kind of what we'll be talking about. So I have a little bit about what makes a perfect install, a quick overview of notes and images, start to finish. I'll walk through the dashboard of how I would go about from the very beginning of an install, like surveying the site all the way down to the very end, and how to make sure that we have all of our pieces in the dashboard. I'll share our checklist and what we've done in the field with our installers, as well as a couple of examples of what we've done at a couple of sites, and then just some extra tips and tricks towards the end, along with a question and answer portion if you guys would like to bring anything up towards the end. All right, so what makes a good install? So I was trying to think of a fun acronym, but I kind of just came up with PIT. It's not very clever or cool, but we'll just go with it. So the first thing is planning. You need to figure out, survey your site, figure out what's going on there, the type of access that you have, maybe the type of fittings or plumbing that you'll need for that tank, the power restrictions that you might have, prepping, again, figuring out the hardware that you'll need, the sensors that you'll need for the site, just getting what you'll need and figuring out your time frame, the actual installation, so physically connecting everything and making a plan for that, testing, getting it on there, making sure everything's reading smoothly and it's working correctly. And then lastly, after your installation is all complete, you guys know more than everyone. Every installation is going to be different from one to the next. And so that information that you guys learn at every different install, we don't want to let that information go to waste. You want to make sure if you see something kind of interesting at one site, there's a record of it. You can pass that along to your teammates. It's really easy to just share that wealth of knowledge that you guys come across. So let's see here. Let me go and share our dashboard so I can start showing notes and images. Let's see.
Oh.
Okay. Can you guys still see my screen okay?
Yep.
Looks good. Great. Okay. All right. So let's say I have a brand new location, a brand new customer, and I want to survey their site and share what that looks like. So I've just logged into the dashboard. This is our main page. What I'd want to do is, or what I could do is go to locations and, you know, create a brand new location for my new site. So, oops, new installation. We can add an address. Let's just say Sacramento. That's where I'm located. Great. Now we have a location created for our brand new customer. You'll see an option to add images and notes right in our location page. So there's no sensors or gateways tied here, but you can already have a spot to add your information. So let's go ahead and add my images. I've gone to the site. Let's see, site access. So you'll see I have an option just to upload my image. If I were to be in the field, same thing, pull up your app, snap the picture, upload it right into the dashboard, and it'll add directly. And you can take multiple pictures, add multiple pictures. It's super quick, super easy. You just can add a little note, a little description, and we can upload here. Uploads pretty quick, and then it will be available on my dashboard here. Let's see. Let me refresh so it'll show up here. There we go. Okay. So now that I've surveyed my site, I have an idea of what it looks like. And so if maybe I'm prepping of what I need, I can see here I don't really have a way to add power to the site. Maybe I can see what I need, what type of tank here. So I have all my records. Maybe I need to add notes about the access. Maybe there's a gate code, so I can do that here. Just a way to add information for all of your teammates. So if there's anything important that needs to be shared, that information is there. A really nice thing about both notes and images is if you click on any note or image, it'll give you a timestamp of when the note was added, as well as the user that added it. So it gives you a little bit more information in that way as well. So that's great. So now for our planning and prep stage, we've got that information here. Do our install. Now we kind of know what we need. Let's say we've got our sensor set up. So we'll say this is our new sensor. We've got all of our information here, all of our alerts, our access, our tags, etc. Now we want to add information about the actual install. So let me go ahead and do that. So again, I'm just selecting my images, uploading them here, adding labels. And uploading. And you can see they're all showing up here immediately. It's very quick. Okay, and then, all right, so now we've completed our installation. Let's see the information that we have here. So I've got our installed tank or installed sensor, and you can see the gateway has been mounted here. It's directly on the tank using our magnets. Hey, Chris, good morning. Hey, Chris, good morning. Okay, and then we can see pictures of the lines here, pictures of the data plates, other pictures of the installed sensors, of the gauge. We have our technicians actually write the level of the tank right after they install it, just so you can verify, hey, does my sensor read exactly with what the technician said it did at that time? just more pieces of information. A better picture of the gauge here with the headspace, and then the sensor IDs and our gateway ID. So all of the information from the site is available forever on our dashboard and for any team member. So if there's any information that any other team member needs to pull up, like if you guys keep record of your IDs on site, if you guys need to write down the manufacturer of the tank and someone doesn't have that information for whatever reason, everything is available. The other nice things about using notes and images is it gives your team visibility of where the sensors are, or for members that might not be too familiar with telemetry, like say you might ask someone to go to the site and take a look at the gateway and they don't really know where it is or what it looks like. You have the perfect example of, hey, this is where it is. This is what it looks like. Just go right to the app. There's all the information that you need. So super easy, all of your notes, all of your images, all in one place, tied to your sensor. You can edit notes, you can edit images, timestamp, super easy. Let me show you guys some examples of, or actually before doing that, let me go to the pages that we use with our own installers. Okay, so this is the checklist that we use with our own installations. We always take a picture of the tank and the level pre-installation of the telemetry. We take a picture of our sensor ID, our gateway ID, the tank and the level post-installation, and if there's anything unusual. So if there's any fittings that look like they need replacing, if there's any tubing that looks kind of off, anything at all that might be good just to reference in your images or just let people be aware of, that's information that you can add to your sensor page or location page that will benefit the team. You don't have to worry about letting people know. We've also seen a lot of technicians, like if you run across a unique tank with unique plumbing, now you have a record of it. It's really easy to take that information, pass it on to the next technician if you guys have new people, and say, hey, here's an example of exactly how you do our installations. From start to end, this is what you do. All right, and let me go back to the dashboard.
Hey, Jasmine, this is Megan. I just wanted to check in to see if anybody had any questions so far.
Yes.
I heard a yes. Did I hear that?
That might have been me.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Okay, just wanted to check in because it's good.
Are there any questions or
Are notes and images private for us, or can they be public for end users that have access?
Oh, excellent question. Let me get back into the dashboard here. And yeah, that is an excellent question. So if you do share access of your sensors with your end customer, there might be pictures or notes that you don't necessarily want them to see. And so we do allow the option to make your images private. So everyone in your team will be able to see it, but your customer won't. So it's a good way for your team to, schedule maintenance calls or kind of go back and forth about things that might be happening on site, but your customer isn't worried about it or doesn't have to be involved if they do have access. So that's an excellent question. And access can be moved up and down if it is something you want them to see.
So can you show us where you toggle that on and off to make it
yes.
public and private, Jasmine?
Yes, of course. So you can select any image, and then you'll see here we have a little note telling us that the default is they are private, but if you do want them public, you can click on it, click on the toggle here, and hopefully you guys can see the drop down. I know sometimes when I share my screen, you can't, but you can click between public and private and just switch back and forth. And this is per every individual note and every individual picture.
Thank you.
That's a great question. Awesome. And let me jump into some examples. The first one I think actually will be kind of relevant to that question, Woody. So let's see. Okay. So this is one of the installations. You guys may be familiar with what this kind of looks like. So a crowded restaurant, you go to your customer site and there's a ton of stuff around the tank. So, this is just information for prior to the installation, or even if you want to share this with your customer, you can see there's a lot of stuff piled up on top of the tank here. And so this is something that you can share with your customer and say, hey, we did notice these things. Once the telemetry is on here, we do want to avoid these instances. Or, if you do have an upcoming install, we know, this stuff might need to be moved over, or these things are going to be kind of an issue to deal with. So just some information for your team, and just more details, more tracking. And I see something coming in through the chat here. Let's see. Okay, it was the limited versus public. Awesome. Can you share how to? Oh, yes. And so going a little bit back to how to share access with a customer, if you do want to do that, let me just run through that really quickly. So say this is my sensor that I own, and I'd like to share it with my end customer. I have these images here for them, or for us, and I want to share this sensor with them, and I don't want them to see these images or these notes. So let me go to access here. You can either scroll down below your graph and find where it says access, or you can also go to manage in your sensor dashboard and click share the sensor as well. So we'll click share. It'll ask you to search for the company that you want to share with. So you will have to do the first steps of creating that company for them and adding those members via email. We have a link in the dashboard on how to create that, but just very quickly. So what that would look like is making the new company. So we'll say customer example 33, create company. Oh, there it is. Okay, and now we have a company. So let me go ahead and share it. And you have different options to share that sensor. And if you don't want your customer to be able to view any of the pictures or any of the notes that you put together on your page at any time, the option you want to select here is limited. Viewer will allow them to see those notes and images, and basically anything that you can see, they will be able to see. They won't be able to make any edits, of course, but the limited viewer will give them restrictions on your notes and images. So that might be the access that you want for your customers. So we'll go ahead and share. And even though we have all of these different images here for our team, our customers won't have any kind of visibility for it. Thanks for mentioning that, Martello. Any questions on that, or sharing, or just customer visibility?
Yep. So then even if we toggle those to public, if they have limited access, they still won't see them.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. But the default is private. So, hopefully if it doesn't, if it is something that isn't meant to be shared, it won't end up shared. Awesome. Okay, so now a couple more examples. this is another installation that we ran into where we were noticing that our sensor wasn't getting the best measurements. We were seeing the sensor measurements come in maybe every 15 minutes rather than the normal 3 minutes. So we took a look at our pictures just to see, hey, is that normal? What's going on here? And if you look at this site, we can see that this 220 is inside of this little storage container, and we've got an industrial scale going on here. And then as I look down at my other images, so this is another little view of our little storage here. And in this image here, you can actually see our gateway is up on the roof, and it's in that same side of the building, but you can see it's closed most of the time, and it is inside of that little area, and the scale's down towards the bottom. So it does make sense that our measures are going to be a little further apart because they kind of have to work their way up to the gateway. So with these pictures, we're able to say, hey, yeah, we're not getting we're not getting our measurements every 3 minutes, but judging from the picture, it makes sense. You know, we've kind of got the scale in a kind of an odd little place. It makes sense that we aren't really getting those measurements every 3 minutes. Not really an area to be concerned about. The gateway is good where it is. It's getting lots of sun. That's important too. So, you know, this site is totally good. Any questions about placement or I guess this type of example at all? And yes, thank you. In other cases similar to these, we do also have extension cables for the solar gateways. So the extension cable allows you to move the solar panels or add additional panels. So this is kind of our new model here, and you can see it has an individual panel. But if you do actually run into a site where you have limited sun or you want to move just the panel around, the cords allow you to add an additional 20 feet. So you could have your gateway in this area, and you could have an additional or the original panel moved over, you know, in any direction 20 feet. So that is an option if you do run into any locations that have limited sun and you need additional panels or more flexibility. Awesome. And this is one last example of other installations we've run into. This is kind of an interesting one where the customers actually install their tank in close to the roof, or not the roof, but I guess close to the ceiling in their storage room. So you can see the tank is kind of high. So you can imagine after someone goes up there once, they probably don't want to do it often. So if you have pictures of what's going on up there, that's great to reference rather than kind of having to send someone up to check it. You can see in these pictures, we have our sensor ID. There's an orange research gauge, I believe. Here, I think there is actually a better picture of, or there it is, yeah. It's an orange research gauge, and we can read some of the specs on there. So you can see how the plumbing is done and the fittings there. So just more information, makes it easy. And then you can also see where your gateway was installed and where it is in relation to the sensor and tank. Awesome. Let me see here.
Jasmine, is there any limit to how many images or notes we can store per installation? And I'm thinking like installation forms or annual maintenance forms, and how secure is that data once we, you know, if we're going to store it on your platform? Should we also have it somewhere in our own platform? What would a recommendation be?
Gotcha. So as far as images, there is a limit of 12 images at this time. That is something that I can confirm with the team if that's going to expand in the future, if that's just kind of for the time being. And that is 12 images per location page and per every individual sensor. So if you do have additional images, you can go to the sensor's location, add those there, and you can also click on the individual sensor and have an additional 12 if you needed. As far as notes and security, so we don't share any of that information. It is all just available on the dashboard and available through your passcode. So it's your team members that will have that information. We don't export it or use it for any kind of purposes for ourselves. So it's rather secure, but I can definitely check in with our software team and gather more information on that if you'd like, and just follow up with you as well, Woody. But yeah, if you upload any of those images or notes, that information is there until you remove it. So it's a good place to keep track of information or annual checkups and things like that. And now that you mentioned things like annual checkups or annual maintenance, we are also, or I guess a good thing to incorporate in this discussion is the tasks feature, if you're familiar with that, Woody, or if you've kind of seen that. So along with adding your notes and images, we've also added tasks. So say, for example, if you did want to create a task for that annual maintenance, these are things that you can also assign to individual team members. I can't spell maintenance. Okay. So you can assign these to individual team members and it'll show up as like a to-do list for them. So those are really nice details that you can add in addition to task and features. I'll just show that here. So you can also add due dates. We'll say May 31st and give it to our support account. So you can create these individual tasks and I'll show you what that looks like as well. So if I go to my to-do list, it's right there. Does that answer your question, Woody, or
It does. And if you complete that task and check it off, it just kind of disappears. Is that what happens? Or
yes. So if you do click that task off, you'll see it's checked off. You do have the option of viewing everything that's ever been completed though. So if you check completed, you'll see that list is here and it'll give you a record of when it was created. And it does also give you a record of when it was completed. So if I go to this sensor, you'll see we created that task for annual maintenance on this day, and it'll tell you when it closed as well. So that record is always there. And for tasks, actually, you do have visibility of the tasks that are assigned to everyone in your organization. So if something gets assigned to one person and they complete it, the history of that being done will be visible to everyone on the team. So it's a nice way to track what's going on, who's assigned what. I'll show you what that looks like. So you can go to your filter, go to assignees, and then just search up any person that you want to look for, and it'll give you the list of tasks that are assigned to them. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, there is a history here. We've actually just added a couple of features to, I'll just run through these because these are new. We've added some features to, let's see, where you can bulk assign or bulk edit things. So if you wanted to assign, let's say you have one technician that covers a certain region, you can click certain tasks for every location and bulk assign it to, oops, my little thing is here, and bulk assign it to one person or to, you know, a team that handles that. So it's very easy to manage and move things around. So I'll show you what that looks like. So say I want to assign all of these to one person, you can do that. You can prioritize and set a due date for everything all at one time, and it'll update everything. So now you can see everything is assigned to our support account. These are the ones that are completed actually. Whoops. Okay, yeah. And then in addition to the bulk management that we've added to tasks, we've also added options to snooze and disable tasks. So when you do have those sites that are closed down for construction or sites that are just temporarily closed for whatever reason, you have the option of just snoozing or disabling those tasks and hiding those tasks if you know it's nothing to really worry about, but you still want to know that there's an action there, maybe to take a look at in a certain period of time. Any questions about that, or I guess is that clear?
Jasmine, would you say that notes and images is more about communication and documentation, and then tasks is kind of a project management function where you can kind of keep things moving within the company? Is that how you'd categorize the two different features?
Yeah, absolutely. With tasks and images, you have this wealth of knowledge stored right into the dashboard. And then with tasks, you can really use that to connect the information. So kind of an example of how you can use both pieces together. Maybe you have some upcoming maintenance for a tank, and maybe it's on the drive home for a salesman, and or they're already going on a or a driver, they're already going on a call there. They can snap some pictures, share it with their technician, and then the person that is assigned that task, they can look at those images and know exactly what they need to do before going there. It saves everyone a little bit of time, and it helps you just as a team work really well together and kind of share the information everybody has. So yeah, it's definitely features that can mix together. They work well together, and they just help make everything more streamlined, not only for telemetry, but just installations or different locations as a whole. Let
Do
me,
you have, or do you think we might be able to have functionality to make recurring tasks available? So if you wanted to set up reminders or something for annual inspections on tanks, is there a way to manage that?
at this time, we don't yet have recurring reminders. Let me note that down. Recurring tasks. We do have due dates for tasks. So for example, let's see, let me set this one here. Oops, this is blocking my way. Okay. So yeah, you do have a way of adding due dates. And then if you can also change the way that you view it. So you can view it in a calendar mode and do that. But we don't have recurring at this time. That is something that I can bring up. So you said for annual inspections?
Yeah, I'm just thinking it might be nice to get a reminder or an alert that we need to schedule an annual inspection on a tank. If we're doing annuals, a way to jog our memory to create a task or have it automatically created.
Yeah, I can definitely see a need for that. And then you guys, would you say that every single one of your tanks gets an inspection every year, or is it like the majority of your assets, or?
It would be the goal to inspect each one every year, but that's always the goal.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Um, yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I can share that with the team. And this goes for everyone out there listening. These features, we definitely build these with you guys in mind. So if there are things that you guys know that you deal with day in, day out, or just come up as you guys are working on things, definitely reach out to us and give us feedback on how things are working for you guys. We're really interested in knowing how the system works. So knowing things like that, Woody, is super helpful to us so we can build things that work for you guys, because we want to make things that you guys want to use. So that's great feedback. Thank you. I'll bring that up with the team, and then I'll follow up with you on that one.
Thank you.
Of course. Let me go ahead and check my notes here and just see if I have a couple of other things. So a couple of things that we've seen be really good use cases for notes and images. Writing down when batteries are replaced, for example, on your level eyes, on your Pulsa sensors. On the newer sensors, we do have the battery detector, but on our more legacy sensors, if you still have a couple of those in the field, you can note down when the battery was replaced for those items. So things like that are good things to add in your notes field. Again, gate codes for your technicians, if there's special access or special permission that's required, contact information for your customers, if there's people you have to call before going to the site, notes about your customers, notes with your customers. Notes and images is also a great way to communicate with us through support. So if there are things that you guys are having issue with that you'd like to have us take a look at, sharing pictures with us is always an awesome way for us to help you troubleshoot and diagnose what the issue is. So sharing a couple images and then emailing it to us or just letting us know, hey, I've got this sensor, we've added some sites, can you take a look? That is extremely helpful for us as well. So yeah, we are still fairly new with this feature. I would say it's been out for maybe 2 months, I think. And we are trying to market it a lot more because every time we show this off to customers, everyone's like, wow, this is super useful. We upload images to share with our air products engineers, or, there are these different reasons that we already take pictures and we already use Pulsa. So it makes sense to do both. So yeah, we definitely want to share this with with our customer base and kind of see how you guys are using it. Are there questions, feedbacks? I'm really interested to hear what you guys think, if you guys have already been using it, or kind of, yeah, just any questions at all that you guys have for me.
Or any more feedback? Does anybody have, like, oh, you think it should work a different way or another type of feature? That would be really helpful for us.
I know we ran through a couple things, so if you guys don't have feedback right away, that's also okay. You can also email us or give us a call, and then or chat with us individually. That also works. I guess since we do have a little bit of time, there are some newer things I'll just mention since we have you guys here. We had a webinar on this a couple of days ago. We are doing, or we have a partnership, I guess, with Chart, where you can order your tanks with the sensors, our differential pressure sensors pre-installed if you order things from Chart. So that's a new thing. You can do that now. We can send you information on that if you'd like. And other new things, we have some sell-through kits that are available on our website. So if you guys would like information or just resources for your sales team on how to upsell Pulsa to your customers, we have a bunch of printouts and brochures that are available. They're really nice. Our marketing team did a really great job on those. So you can drop your company name and it gives you all of these benefits already printed out for your customers. And it's a really nice thing just to share with them if you guys give them the option of upselling telemetry on them. Let me think. Other new things that we have up and coming. We do definitely have a lot of things cooking for features. So stay tuned for more webinars and just resources that we share on things. Any feedback on learning resources? Do you guys like these? Are these do you guys like these? I think I saw maybe a few nods.
I'll have a question that's kind of off topic, but we were
Yeah.
chatting this morning about a recent setup for a microbulk tank
Mhm.
and wondering how people are labeling tanks from different manufacturers, where the fill point for a 3,000 liter from Chart might be different than the full level for a 3,000 liter from Taylor Wharton or Ratterman. So are people kind of, when we make an adjustment to one, it was adjusting all with the same description?
Yes. Um, so yeah, with the product catalog, you do have the flexibility of adding in those extra details if you do have tanks that are the same size, but they're different manufacturers, so they're going to have slightly different fill heights. These are some examples. You can see here how we have a 6-ton horizontal tank and then a 6-ton CO2. So say if one of these were Taylor Wharton or if one of these were Chart, you can just add them to, that is something that we advise. If you do have like a refurbished tank or a brand that's kind of random, to include it into the name, because most customers, I would say, have a lot of Chart tanks, a lot of Siltec tanks, Taylor Wharton tanks. What's another big one? Like Arctic Fox. But if you guys do have those brands that are maybe refurbs or just it's a really old tank, kind of a weird size tank, yeah, it is always better to add that information into the product name so it's more descriptive and you know that that tank is going to be different than your other, um, 750s or your other normal tanks. So yeah, what we would advise is just adding that that manufacturer name right in the product name. And let me show you guys this. Doo.
Jazz, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you show, so what if a tank is off by like an inch or two? Can you also show them the adjustment factor?
Yes, I can. Okay, so let's see. So Marcello, you're talking about a situation where a gauge
Identical
is,
identical manufacturer, but full is maybe 1 inch higher or lower than normal. So let's just say it's a 50-inch fill height, and this one 50 inches is showing, 98% or 102%. So how can they change it on one tank without changing everything if it's a 1 or 2 inch or, a couple percentage points off?
gotcha. So if you do want to make just that one tank match up and it's a very small difference, we do have the option for adding an adjustment factor. This is only true for differential pressure sensors, however. But the way that you would do that is you would go into that sensor, click manage and say, so our sensor right now, it's giving us 28 inches. Our gauge reads 29. So what you can do is click adjustment factor here, set adjustment, oops, and then just do 1 inch. And this will just make it match up with. We do really only recommend doing this if it's a very small difference, like if your drivers use the Pulsa app to confirm that it's matching up with the gauge, and you know that that gauge might just be slightly off, but you want it to match up exactly on the app and the gauge. That is one option. But yeah, that way you can make it match up exactly to what you're seeing on the gauge, and you don't have to make any changes to the product if it is the same tank. Is that clear, or any questions on adjustment factors?
Nope, that was good. That was helpful. Thanks, Jazz.
Will that adjustment factor change on all of the 6-ton CO2s that are associated to that, or just that one tank?
It
Only
would just,
the one tank, Jasper. So just the one. So
Okay.
that's have that there. And then if you see that it's typically our guidance is if it's like 10%, you would basically want to create a new product. But on any tank, what we've seen in the field is maybe a difference of like 1 or 2 inches. Either way, you can have different tanks manufactured. If you see one's 40 and one's 50, I would opt for a different product. But if we have 3 tanks you install and you notice that one is 39 inches, it's not a big deal to change only that one, and that's why we have the adjustment factor to only change that one tank, because everything else is basically in spec.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Martello. And then I wanted to show you guys, just going back to the naming really quickly. Let's see. So this is our help center here. And if you, and our help center is on pulsasensors.com, or you can just type in help.pulsasensors.com and it'll take you right there. But if you type in naming into our search bar, we do have these templates where we give some specifications just on some basic guidelines for naming. So let me zoom in a little bit. Oops. So for example, for customer name, or excuse me, for your sensor, we usually recommend something like the customer name, the gas and description, and store number. This might be unique to kind of your company. So if maybe you don't have a store number, but a region or a some other kind of internal code that means something to you guys, that might be your procedure that you guys want for naming, and some examples here. And then same thing for product and locations. So including the gas type, if it's bulk or bev carb, the tank size, and then tank manufacturer, because that can sometimes make a difference. And then of course, things like if it's horizontal or vertical. And then for these, actually, if you guys would like these files, we can share these with you guys and you guys can modify them. With some of our distributors, what they'll do is modify it to what they want for their company and print it out for their technicians or their drivers or installers, so they know exactly what they need to be typing in for new installs. So that's also handy too. So we can share some resources on that, just so if you guys have those or would like those available. And again, the Help Center is a really good resource for information on all of our features. We do add guides here as soon as we add new features. Our YouTube is also a really great resource if you guys haven't checked that out as well. We have Instagram, and we also have a Facebook learning group. So those are all really great places to keep up to date with our new features and just kind of more learning resources that we have shared up. Awesome. We have a little bit of time. Are there any topics or anything, any questions you guys want to discuss?
Jasmine, if we wanted to clean up, everything we have currently with naming and kind of get stuff standardized, would you be able to, or can we drop all that information into a spreadsheet and clean it up and then get it loaded back in?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can definitely help with that. We're happy to do that. We can work with you and your team just to, that probably would be the easiest way to go, get you a list of what things are in their current status, and then you would just fill out what you would like them to be, and then we can get that changed up on the back end with our software team.
Yeah, if there's anything like that, that's, you're going to spend more than like 5-10 minutes doing, just reach out and let us know. So we had another customer similar. They're like, hey, I'm doing this on all my new tanks and I want to set up this alert for my other 95 tanks. Is there a way that you can do it in batch? So if there's something like that, yeah, just obviously just let us know. And then Woody, I might want to pick your brain a little bit offline about some additional labels, either for pictures or labels for notes, because we do have a lot of different, things, what we thought customers would need, like the reading pre-install, the reading post-install, the tank location placard. But if there's a categorization that's very common for you and other distributors that we can add to that, that'd be helpful. That way, not everything's been uncategorized. Let us know, especially as you talk about the, inspection, because right now everything that we have photo-wise is based off of, the tank itself, the location, and those things. But if there's documents in a different area to put that in, we're very interested to hear what you would do and what makes sense. And then, we can always build in the future. As Jasmine said before, like we want to make stuff that obviously you guys are going to use, because if you're going to use it, chances are another distributor is going to want it too.
Yeah, no, we can chat about that. So we're thinking about using it for, our annual maintenance program and loading those documents and to each installation, but probably some standard pictures of vaporizers and connections, so we know if they're swage locks or 4-bolt flanges, and pictures of pressure building regulators and final line regulators, and just so we can easily see what's installed at a location. We're talking a repair issue remotely.
So overflow for now, and Jasmine brought up, I don't want that to get lost. There's, 12 images. It's 12, right, Jazz?
Well,
Yeah, so 12 images per sensor, but the location spot is where it would be a good spot, I think, for that overflow for those other things that you're talking about. So if we're talking about the vaporizer, Jazz, can you show how to just shortcut to the location page? So like, let's just say we go to that sensor, and we just want to hop to the location.
oh, gotcha. So if you're on any sensor page, the location is up at the very top, so you can click it and you'll see all of the sensors at this one location, all of the gateways at this one location, and then the images and notes will all go for that one location as well.
So that'd be good. So if you run out of the 12 pictures on that an individual sensor, then we can add, okay, here's a copy of the, annual inspection document. Here's, where the vaporizer is. Here's a picture of a replaced component, whatever it is. So that would be enough there. And if that's not enough, we can definitely discuss, but we wanted to have some kind of boundaries. That way it is a pretty snappy experience. But we would be interested to see if that's enough, if you need other features or to open that up. Like that's not something that's always closed whenever we roll something out. Like, we rolled this out a couple months ago and it's already had a big revision. So we'll keep improving this based off of that feedback.
Let me just recap that as well. So locations, you can find it in your menu on the left, or if you click on any individual sensor, the address will be at the top. You can click it, and everything that is installed at that location, all of the sensors, all of the gateways will be all tied to the same location.
And then what some customers have brought up too with locations, you can do your location in advance. So if you're doing a site survey before scanning a sensor, before scanning a gateway, you can put all the pertinent information you want in that actual location. So all this can live right here. You don't necessarily need to have a sensor on hand. So if you're doing a site survey, or if the salesperson has the information about it, he can, upload his photos there without having to have an actual tech do it. So there's more flexibility with locations where that doesn't need to be tied to a sensor. So some customers have started to do that part of their workflow. The telemetry admin will basically add all the information for the site, customer number, all that good stuff. And then when that tech goes and does the install, they can basically just pick the installation, and all that information automatically populates.
And just to add to what Marcello mentioned, we'll also actually be incorporating tasks to be able to be added to locations. At this time, task does have to be assigned to a unique sensor or unique gateway, but we are going to be adding it. So if you are going to schedule installs just from your location alone, you can create tasks for the individual steps. So if you want to make sure like, hey, the tank needs to write out the tasks to, install a tank at a certain location, install the sensor at a certain location. All of that can be managed right in the app. So when we have that update, we'll definitely share an email blast about that to let you guys know. Awesome. Well, there are a few minutes left. Any other questions? Any feedback, comments?
Thank you.
Awesome.
We had
Thanks,
Jasmine, we added some resources to the chat, but we'll be following up with an email with the information about the chart, sales partnership, the learning resources like the Facebook dashboard education group, the help center link, and the recording.
And again, if you guys think of any feedback, have any questions that come up afterwards, please feel free to reach out. We definitely want to hear from you guys. So yes, thank you guys so much for your attendance today. We really value you guys as customers. We really value your feedback, and yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us today.